Diablo 4 launched this month to huge fanfare. I've been anxiously awaiting its release. I've been playing Diablo for a long time. Okay, no, not that long ago. No, more recent than that. Okay, a bit more recent than that. There we go. Now, I did see Diablo 2 as a kid growing up, but I never owned the game. And the reason I bought Diablo 3 at release on the Switch was because of an experience I had a few years prior. Early in the life cycle of the game on PlayStation, one Saturday morning, a buddy invited me and a few others to chill before we went out to go drinking. Well, we started a new game of Diablo 3, and we played for hours. We ended up getting food, never made it out to a bar. We ended up playing the entire next day. I was just hooked. So when I found out it was coming out on Switch, a system I actually owned, I patiently waited. And once the game came out on release, my buddy and I, we sat down, we played the thing. We put 30 hours into the campaign, playing the whole thing together. We eventually moved to playing outside the campaign. The first time we did a bounty, we had no idea what was going on. It took us even longer to figure out seasons. And then once I figured out seasons, it was even longer for me to figure out there were actual optimal ways to play the seasons to push to higher rifts. I'd go on and play Diablo 3 for about 300 more hours, according to what the Switch has logged for me there. In the later seasons, I did perfect a few builds via guides I found online. I say all this to get to my point. The most fun experience I had with the game was that first group play, when my buddy and I took the most inefficient run through the campaign. And once it got to the end, the perfecting the builds, pushing to greater rifts, it just wasn't the same. I'd play a few nights, connect online with my brother or something, and to, into the level 500 range of the Paragons, and then I'd lose interest and just move on to another game. When Diablo 2 Remastered came out on the Switch, I played through that again with the same buddy, and it was fun. I had no nostalgia tied to the game, so the managing of the inventory really just dragged on for me. But he was on the other side of the world at that point. It was fun to connect, be able to chat with him again as we played through the game, and I had a good experience. So when the Diablo 4 beta and stress test came out, I played those, and solidified I had to buy the game on release. I really enjoyed the story. With that first cinematic on the stress test, I knew that this was going to be something different. This was going to be a game that I actually played through. I've gotten to a point with games, especially Diablo, where I've just been playing on the Switch. I have the sound off while something's on TV, or my wife and I are watching a movie, or I'm on a break at work, and it's been a long time since I've plugged a system into the TV and actually had the volume on and played a story. I think I've gotten to a point where games are just kind of a background thing I've been playing while doing other things just to kill time at night. But it's been fun to experience the story of a game again. It's been a long time since I remember really getting into the narrative of a game and really trying to follow it and thoroughly enjoying it. So I won't be making a hardcore character. And I say all this to say I'm not going to be pushing for level 100. I'm not grinding out the story in a race to get to a high Paragon level. In fact, I'm still in the first zone. The game's been out for over 10 days, and I had it a few days prior to that because of the pre-order bonuses. I haven't made it out of Fractured Peaks. Here I am, level 46, still hanging out. And here are my thoughts so far. And be warned, I'm going to spoil the story up to where I'm at. So if you haven't played the game yet, if you're thinking about playing the game, you don't want the story ruined, I would just click out this video, maybe come back later if you actually care what I have to say. So after the wild and amazing opening cinematic that I've now seen 3 times, that disgusted my wife, she was not interested in this game at all, I enter the world and come out into a small town. After finding a guy who's going mad and the town folk explaining it's because of some dungeon, I get sent to said dungeon to take care of it. After taking down the first dungeon, the town celebrates by drinking, aka drugging me, and stuffing me full of petals of the blood of the big bad from the game Lilith. After escaping this, I meet Lorith Nar and am introduced to the backstory of Lilith, who I'm now bound to somehow because her blood got stuffed in my mouth, so that's gross. So we learn that there's this guy, Anaris, who's a rogue angel, and he believes he alone can fulfill the prophecy by killing Lilith, and that'll help him return up to heaven. After exploring the world a bit, we team up with Nymrelli, and with her, we enter the Sanctum of Ramatha, who's the first Nephilim and founder of the Necromancers. Here I see the spirit of Rathma say they hold the key to hell, and when Anaris, the angel, a rogue angel, demands the key from him, Rathma refuses, and Anaris kills him. We later see that Lilith found that key to hell. We end up going back to Nyrelli, who's burying her mom now. I think I forgot to mention her mom followed Lilith for a little bit and went crazy, and we had to kill her, or we killed the demons and she died. I can't really remember. And we tell her that we were too late. Lilith already left with the key to hell. And that's part 1. And that was many, many hours ago for me. I immediately branched out and started doing side quests, and that's where I really started finding true enjoyment of this game. I mean, these side quests are just awesome. They add a story element that I don't remember from Diablo 3. Like in Diablo 3, I think you did the campaign, there were like a few little like, hey, go kill this thing, and that was about it. And then it was just bounties, which was, kill this boss or do whatever. And then the rifts. I don't remember these, side quests being an element of the game. So I did go collect all the statues of Lilith, which give you little bonuses across all characters you create. I don't think it's going to carry over to Seasons, though. And I'll admit I used a guide online to find them all, because after the first few, I realized I would never find them all just looking on my own. It would take me weeks. And then I went and took over the 3 strongholds, which is very fun. I enjoyed discovering the bear tribe and going through their quest line. The vampire stronghold was legitimately fun to clear. It took me a few tries. I actually went in there the first time at level 25 and had to go train up, I think, because it was a level 30 area. And then I went to discover the whole map. And I started working these side quests until I got stuck around 32 side quests done. And I moved on to doing dungeons. And I'm not sure what my real goal was here. I didn't want to force myself to 100% area before moving on. But I also had this thing in my head that where if I skip a quest or skip a dungeon and move on, 3 weeks from now with life, I'll get burned out and other things will come up, and I'll just never come back and experience this part of the game. And I don't know, so I didn't want to rush ahead. Maybe I'm just being crazy. Maybe it's a little OCD because I found the little completion part on there and I really wanted to complete it. I don't know. I was having fun. And as long as you're having fun, that's what a game is, right? Like, if you're enjoying yourself, this is how you're unwinding at the end of the day, why not just keep doing the thing that you find fun until it's not fun anymore, and then you move on, right? And I have some thoughts on some of these side quests. Some of my favorites so far, the quest line with Sister Octavia. It started with her needing help exorcising a demon from a young boy. After that, a woman named Kevra claims that her husband's been possessed by a demon, and Sister Octavia needed your help with that exorcism. So you go down into the cellar and you find demons, but not the husband, and you hear the wife screaming upstairs. So you run back up there, and you end up chasing him through the sewers. And as you approach him, she starts doing her exorcism, but something goes wrong, and he turns into this demon Demotath. After defeating him, she has to go tell the wife that the husband unfortunately perished. And this quest has a third part now, where after exorcising this demon, a friend of Sister Octavia, Peter, he comes, or sends a letter for you from her. And it turns out the demon somehow evaded death and possessed Sister Octavia. And she lost her magic chalice, so then you have to go travel to the town of Margrave and find a priest who sends you out to a ritual to get a new one. And once you do that, you go back to her and you start doing the ritual to exorcise the demon. And eventually, Demotath does appear once more, and you defeat him again and save Sister Octavia. But the priest who helped you get the chalice comes in and starts threatening her for working outside the church. But she, even right after being exorcised, turns it around on him, has the wherewithal to change the situation around, threatens him for leaving the town, and he ends up leaving. For a chain of side quests, I felt like I was having an unusual amount of fun. Again, like, I felt like the story in the last game, or in other games I played, is just pretty straightforward. This is giving me real, like, Grand Theft Auto vibes. Like, I've just gone off and started experiencing the town and the city and having feelings about these other side characters that in the grand scheme of the game probably don't even matter, but it just makes the story that much better, because now instead of just go there and kill that, now there's this whole lore of the city that the citizens are scared of having the church come help with their exorcisms of these demons, because they're just burning people alive to kill the demon, and it'll kill the person with it. They're just not worried about it. I guess they're just so overrun or something that the people are turning to these people working outside the churches who are risking themselves to perform these exorcisms. I don't know, it just, that quest line just is stuck with me. As soon as I realized there were multiple parts to it, I just had to keep doing them. Another one that stuck with me was the cries of the innocent. But in this quest, you find this father who's been haunted by visions of his dead son, and the son was sent to this place called the Black Asylum for committing a murder as a child, and he asked for your help laying his son's spirit to rest. And after you talk to him, the ghost of the son shows up there and he's begging the father to come visit the Black Asylum. It turns out that the Black Asylum was a prison that got abandoned. The guards were called away to go help somewhere else, and they just sealed it up and left everyone in there to rot. They basically said these people were evil anyway. whatever fate comes to them comes, and they either died of starvation or they ate each other and they fell into the pits of hell, basically. Like, what an awful area. And as you go there and you take the son out, he's just crying, saying that his dad lied. Once you've cleared the dungeon, you go back, talk to the dad. Yeah, he's saying, maybe I messed up. I let my son take the fall for a crime I committed. So he let his 6-year-old son go die in an evil prison because he committed a crime. And then at the end, he's saying it's time to visit his son. So I assume he's going to go kill himself. I honestly thought the player character was going to, kill him, help him take his own life. But no, he's going to go kill himself, I think. That was dark. And that's one of those things. If I didn't stop the side quest, if I was playing on my Switch and didn't have the volume on, I would have missed so many parts of the story. I don't know. This game's just wild. So at this point, I got 32 of the quests done, and for the last few, I was having trouble finding them. There's some that you have to go kill things in a certain area or pick up items, and that'll trigger the quest. So I did go find a guide, and while I was doing it, I got to one of them I went looking for, and I couldn't get it. I went back and looked at saying that you need to complete the entire campaign to trigger this quest. I can't even finish all the quests in the first area. So with 32 of them done, I couldn't really trigger the last two. I just kind of moved on and went and did dungeons, and I got 22 out of 23 done, and I couldn't figure out where the last one was. And again, I went and looked at that map. You had to complete the campaign to get this last dungeon. So at this point, I feel like I should just move on. So far, I would say this is one of the best games I've ever played. I'm basically having flashbacks to playing Grand Theft Auto for the first time. I get so wrapped up in the story, it's hard for me to put the game down. I just want to keep exploring. It's also that dopamine hit every time you see a rare item pop up and you're like, oh, please have better stats. Please give me more intelligence. Please, give me whatever bonus I want to make my character stronger. And speaking of that, the character I've built so far for this game is a Blood Surge, Blood Lance Necromancer.
Congratulations, Katara. You're a bloodbender.
It was described as a sturdy, resilient, high damage dealing character. I did use a guide on Icy Veins to plan it out. Now, I know half the fun of these things is building your own character, but in the pre-release stress test, the character I made, I had no plan. It ended up being so inefficient I could barely, get through the game even at level 20. So I decided I needed a legit guide or I was just going to have a bad time. And I don't know if maybe they nerfed the game or it was just my build was so bad. I've just been having, I don't think I died until I got to level 21. This character was just so much better than what I'd done in the pre-release stress test. And basically with this Necromancer, I just spam Blood Surge to take out hordes, and I have Blood Lance to take out single enemies or bosses. Honestly, dungeon running is awesome. A few of the boss fights have kind of wrecked me, and that butcher guy has just killed me every time I've run into him so far. The open world is maybe my favorite aspect here, since I haven't found any real-life friends to team up with yet, or just haven't planned it out right. To be running through an open field and just see a random event going on with other characters or other players in the event, and just be able to run in, and then here I am level 46, and I'm next to a level 4 or a level 11, and all of our damage seems to scale appropriately. I think it's just done really well. And you go online, you check Reddit, you see there's people who are already in the end game, and they're complaining about things. They have things to voice their problems, whatnot. I don't know. So far, I've never made it out of the first area, but I have no complaints. I'm just loving this experience. I'm having a great time. I don't know what else to say. This game's just fun. If you're into it, and if you're into the story and the side quests, you're gonna have a good time. I'll let you know how I feel at the next area. At some point, I feel like I've just over-leveled to the point that I may burn myself out, but we'll see there. And let me know how your builds are going, what you think of the game so far. So, yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you later.